Hi, I'm Miss Benitez. I have been in your daughter's class for a couple of months now. Over this period, I have given her multiple assessments, such as how she feels about school, how she feels about reading, how she feels about writing, her writing interest, and how much vocabulary she is familiar with. The base of our process on this is the Scarborough's reading rope. This is made up of two main areas. One is language comprehension and word recognition. Language comprehension is made up of background knowledge, vocabulary, language structure, verbal reasoning, and literacy knowledge. The other one is word recognition, which is made up of phonological awareness, decoding, and sight recognition. This is basically words that students need to be able to read just by looking at it because they are not able to tap those words out. To begin, I want to go over how she feels about school. To begin, I asked her how she felt about school, how she felt whenever you woke her up in the morning. And she said that she gets mad at you in the morning because she doesn't want to go to school and she just wants to stay home on the tablet. Is that an everyday thing?
Almost every day.
Almost every day. With the spelling test, she was also able, we also did a spelling test. She was only able to do 1 out of 25 words correctly. She knows a lot of her letter sounds. However, blending in words and trying to figure out how to put words together is where she really does struggle. But going back to how she feels about school, she says she only struggles in the morning, and once she gets to school, she's pretty happy. She loves school, loves playing with her friends. I asked her what her favorite thing to do was, and she said it was playing on her tablet. So I'm guessing she enjoys her tablet at home.
Yeah, she uses a lot.
Yeah, she uses it a lot. She did say that was her favorite thing to do at home was the tablet. She says she wishes she can bring her tablet to school. I asked her if she enjoyed reading, and she said reading is really fun and she loves it, even though it is very hard for her. She says she likes when other people read books to her and she doesn't have to read. I then asked her why people write and if she enjoyed writing. She said that people write to be smarter and that she enjoys writing because she feels smart when she writes. Even though she doesn't really like writing, she likes writing because it makes her feel very, very smart. So overall, she does seem to have interest in reading and writing. However, she just doesn't really like coming to school in the morning and getting up, the process of getting up. So moving on, we did the spelling test. She only got 1 out of 25 words correctly. She knows all of her letter sounds. However, putting them together, like I said, is very difficult for her. She struggles with that. If you sit there and ask her, like, what sound does the letter R make, she's able to tell you, like, If you ask her what sound does the letter T make, she's able to tell you T. However, if you give her, like, the word bed, she can go B-ed, but she can't put the word together. She can say the letter sounds, but she can't put the word together. In book, she's able to give a very vague summary of the book if the book is being read to her. For example, I tried getting her to read a book and she struggled, but afterward I read the book to her, and when I asked her questions about the book, she was able to give me like a very vague explanation. She seems to have a very low confidence in reading. Do you guys ever read at home?
Sometimes.
So one way to help her have better confidence and build better confidence is by reading to her at home, having her just read to you, or you could read to her. Sometimes that's not the funnest thing to do at home because she did say that she likes to be on her tablet. But taking a few minutes out of your day, 20 minutes every day, will help her improve her reading. And also, when you guys are done reading, just asking her questions about the book and having her retell you what happened in the book, who was in the book, what they did in the book is going to help her tremendously in this area. I asked if she enjoyed reading on her free time, and like I said, she prefers to be on her tablet, but taking these 20 minutes out of the day is very important. Next, for her phonological awareness screaming, that's where I did that for her, and she did have a hard time on this. This is where she struggled. She had a hard time with syllables and putting the sounds together. The first portion of the test is like letter sounds and identifying letters. She was able to identify majority of the letters. I think let me look back. She missed 6. She didn't identify 6 of the letters. And then with the letter sounds, she couldn't identify 5 of them. So majority of it, she knows her letters and her letter sounds. I think with some of them, there's times where I would ask her and she was able to give it to me. I would move on to the next one if she didn't get it, and then I would go back and ask her, and she picked it up really quickly. So I think it's just being put on the spot makes her very nervous. When you like tell her to do something very, very fast, does she get nervous at home?
Not really.
Not really. I think it's just at school that maybe teachers make her nervous. The one area where I saw that she struggles the most is blending letter sounds together. For example, at her grade level, she should be able to be reading CVC words, which is small words that our students should be able to tap out. For example, one word would be bat, B-A-T. We teach our students what sound does B make. They would go B-A, A-T, T, B-A-T. She, for the majority of the part, is able to go B-A-T, B-A-T. But when you ask her, okay, B-A-T, what does that say together? She'll give you a completely different word. So she'll go B-A-T, cat. Or she'll go B-A-T, run. So she knows the letter sounds, but for some reason putting them together is where she is struggling completely. It's an area that we definitely need to work on with her. I could send home some flashcards with her, and I could have you practice at home if that's something that you're interested in.
Yes.
So I will make some flashcards for her and send them home, and then just struggling with her 20 minutes a day, tapping out those letter sounds and tapping out those words is going to help her tremendously with CVC words, because she should know that by now. At her grade level, but there's nothing that we can't work on at school and at home. So I will definitely make those, and then you start off with CVC words, and then once she gets those, we will work with harder words, and we'll work with getting her grade level up. We also worked on a word list with her. We started with pre-primer, which is below her grade level. She's on second grade. She's in second grade, and she should be at a higher grade level. However, we started at pre-primer because that's where I saw her. The book in total had 45 words. She was only able to identify 6 of those, and a lot of those was I, A, and some CVC words. So out of 45 words in the book, she could only identify 6 of them. So she is reading at a lower level. I don't want you to panic about that, because that is something that we could work on. To help with just practice reading, I would give you some books, and you would just take them home and practice with her. You would take about 20 minutes out of your day to practice CVC words and to do all of that with her. However, since she was not able to read the book by herself, I did take it upon myself to read the book to her afterward, because I did have to ask her some comprehension questions. She was not able to read the book herself, so afterward I read it to her, and I asked her a few comprehension questions, and I asked her to retell me the story. When I did this test beforehand and I had her read the book by herself, she was not able to tell me any retelling. She completely went blank when I asked her what happened, what was in the book, what happened in the book. However, when I read it to her and I asked her the comprehension questions and I asked her to retell me, I asked her 5 comprehension questions, and every single question she did get correct. I would ask her what mom did, because we read a book about mom. Mom went to work, mom fixed the garden. So comprehension, she did very well. When I asked her to retell me, it was not as good as comprehension, but she did remember majority of the book. She was able to tell me majority of the ideas of the book. She'd end up, I think once she just got over it, didn't want to do it anymore because she got bored. She did make a statement that it was boring and she wanted to go back to class. She was tired of being with me because I was making her read. Once she got to that time, she just started saying, since the book was about moms, she just started saying, I love my mom. My mom's so nice. My mom's the best. So she does love you. But she completely forgot what the book was about and just kept saying, I love my mom. My mom's amazing. My mom's fun. My mom's nice to me. So she would tell me things that had to do with mom, but nothing about what was in the book. However, that only started whenever she just got bored and didn't want to do the practice anymore. That was by the time I had already had her for like 20 minutes, so she wanted to go back to class because she knew they were doing something fun. Any questions so far?
No.
No. Overall, she's very interested and wants to improve in her reading and writing. I think just taking time to practice with her and making sure that she works on her confidence and just keeping a positive attitude towards her, because she does seem to be very sensitive, will help her out tremendously. I will send CVC Word home with her to have you practice, have her tap out those sounds, just keeping that in her brain and keeping those sounds and those letters in her brain and having her practice blending them together, because she does know all the sounds, and having her tap them out and blend them together will help her tremendously. And it's just keeping a positive attitude towards it, because she does not seem to get overwhelmed and want to give up. She says she wants to write because it makes her smart, and she wants to read because reading is fun. I do believe she enjoys picture books majority, because a lot of times when we were reading the book, she would talk a lot about the pictures. So I do believe she likes picture books, so I think that will help her out tremendously. So overall, she's very, very smart. We just need to work on a couple things with her to get her to grade level.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you.